Time to play the game!
Hello everyone, and welcome to MMO Hunter. This is Mythica, and today we're taking a scouting mission into Cabal II. Yes, I know in my last video I said due to frustrations with the game, I would let it sit for a bit. But after thinking about it, I realized that despite all the graphical errors, it's not really my issue with the game. The fact that errors continue to occur even after its official launch does not of course speak well for the title, but I have a few nitpicks about the game in general that need to be addressed. Additionally, if you happen to love this game, I would just stop watching now because the next few minutes will not be kind. Cabal II is a Korean port that originally launched in December of 2012. The game is rendered in the CryEngine 3 and should allow for some fantastic graphics. This is if the game designers weren't lazy fucks. Upon entering the game, you're presented with some pretty cool looking class options that show you some animations and spell effects. After selecting your class, you're then taken to your standard customization screen that allows you to change your body size, type, hair, and features. It was here that I noticed something weird about the graphics. I thought that the hair looked particularly low quality, rendered in low resolution that didn't seem to match the quality of the armors and spell effects. But of course graphics don't always matter, right? Unless of course you're boasting that you're using a superior graphics engine that allows for beautiful detail. So hair, as with many other things in this game, felt lazy. You'll see this will be a running theme throughout this review. The game starts out with a cinematic trailer that force-feeds you a backstory. It presents you with a nameless white-haired bad guy who kidnaps your sister, kills everyone in your village, and leaves your character wondering why. During the cutscene, you are thrown into a combat fight with some guys. I'm assuming that anyway, due to the fact that I have yet to actually see what I am fighting, both in the beta and in live game. This offers you little in the way of a tutorial and just puts you into God mode for reasons. Are you supposed to be a badass? Do you possess some amazing power? I don't know, the game doesn't really explain itself. Directly after you fight the invisible men, our white-haired villain force lightnings you. I'm not sure if you die in this scene, or your sister resurrects you, or if you're just hurt. It, once again, doesn't explain. But you're off to become a mercenary. Okay game, you're an MMO RPG. RPGs tell a story. The story is usually pretty integral to your character. Without a good story, you're just killing shit. At no point am I allowed to become invested in this game. A better introduction would have been to start you in a small town, get you to know a few NPCs, and introduce you to your sister. Or better yet, make her your protege. At this time, introducing you to the basics of gameplay and getting you to have an understanding of the feel of your environment. Then, in some horrible attack, the town gets wiped out, your protege is abducted, and then the bad guy actually has some dialogue, and you feel some animosity towards him. Yes, it's horribly cliché, but it's better than what you're presented with. Without a decent introduction, there is no emotional investment in what your character is doing, especially if you're presented with a story that's as personal as a character's family member being kidnapped. This aside, the game continues on, throwing at you more text-based exposition against a boring sky backdrop. This is freaking lazy animation. I'm already bored and it's only been 5 minutes into the game. Would it have killed someone to do an environmental pan? Maybe show some people walking around the zone you're gonna be in? But finally, you're playing the game. And what epic adventures are you on? Killing some gentle, snarf-looking things. Yes, I'm killing bunnies and crab creatures and collecting their epic quest drops. Questing here is lazy, with walls of uninteresting text that force you to spam the F key repeatedly to get through it onto your next objective. At least I can say the combat is decent, with some nice effects in the spell animations. Though I'm not quite feeling this action MMO, it's pretty tab, target, fire off spells and combos. I have nothing negative to say about the combat, but it doesn't feel like it's bringing anything new to the table. As you move from one objective to another, the game seems to want to continue its confusing narrative, throwing random jarring cutscenes at you. The lack of story direction feels most evident in this scene with a random person who just starts talking to me. The game doesn't explain who she is or how she knows my situation, not to mention only the first and last lines of dialogue are actually voice acted, leaving the middle out, and the captions don't match the voiceover. This can be forgivable in a translation, but the text and dialogue are both in English. Environments, like story, fall flat. Yes, I'm back on graphics, and your environment is just as important as your story and your character. An environment sets a mood and tone for your adventure. The environments here are generic and lack any sort of life or vitality. Environments look okay, but nothing special here, giving us the typical trees, rocks, and plants stuck in a boxy zone. There is a genuine lack of originality, just making this world a standard fantasy grindfest. The lack of imagination even becomes more evident when entering your first town, as it's populated with some generic fantasy buildings, a handful of uninteresting NPCs, and no filler environmental details that might make the town interesting. There also seems to be a bit of a tone issue with the game. What I mean by this is it's not sure what it wants to be. When the game starts, it seems to present you with this dark story, having you adventure to learn the whereabouts of your missing sister. However, the game seems to lose itself in its blandness, offering up your first mount, a bright pink and purple low-resolution ostrich. Nothing says I'm a badass like riding a pink flamingo. You might be wondering why this is an issue. Sure, it's great to get a mount early on, despite the crux of it being temporary. I guess it suffocates in your bag or something. It's the fact that the game doesn't seem to have a style. It seems to borrow bits and pieces from other games, creating a lazy hodgepodge. There seems to be no style Bible for this game that would possibly say, hey, our story's kind of serious, let's be sure to treat it that way, at least for the introduction, and then maybe throw in the big fluffy pink bird. Bottom line, it's not the worst game I've encountered. It's free, so if you really want to check it out, go ahead. It's not unplayable, and the graphics are okay, but feel dated for a 2015 release. Gameplay is decent, but nothing new, and the story is downright deplorable. My personal experience with the title left me feeling generally bored and uninterested. It's a lazy game, not worth my time. Did you enjoy the title? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you'd like to see more, feel free to subscribe. But for now, this is Mithka, logging out.